There's a place I'll always cherish neath the blue Atlantic skies, where the shores down in Cape Breton bids the golden sun to rise, and the fragrance of the apple blossoms sprays the dew-kissed lawn, back in dear old Nova Scotia, a place where I...
Guys, welcome back to All Outdoors Nova Scotia. I'm your host, Robert. It's Saturday the 4th. I officially started my vacation technically today. So it's a little cloudy and gray and quite humid here. So I'm not really going to do much outdoors today. So it gives me another opportunity to work on the four-wheeler. Like I need an excuse. I want this thing going. So I went ahead and taped up the wires to the kill switch start button there, and got them so that it'll start with the start button. Again, it didn't work with the kill switch right now, but I can use the key. That's not a big deal. So I got those taped up, and I went ahead and took the front tires, the two tires off that are flat, and got the drums off, and realized that the other front tire is also, the brakes are sticking in that, so I took that tire off, took the drums off, and I'll show you where I'm at right now. I did manage the other night to tighten the exhaust up most of the way. The band clamp that went around that held the muffler on is toast. It disintegrated when I went to loosen it to put it on, so I'm going to have to put a clamp here, but that's not a big deal. But here, this is what the front inner brakes of mine look like. It's a drum setup. This wheel cylinder is sticking. It won't let them come on or off, so I'm going to have to either replace it or see if I can free it up. And on this side, the wheel cylinder is actually moving like it's supposed to on one side, as you can see, not on the other. It may come free after I get it going, but the liners are not great. I really should have a set of front shoes. I do not have any. I just went rooting through the junk and don't see any. I do think I have another set of back ones, but I also bought a brand new set of back ones, which are over here. They need to be taken off, put the new shoes in, cleaned up. They do work, sorta. I may have to adjust the cable, but after I get the new liners on and freed up and take this and clean it, maybe they'll move a little freer, and I may not have to adjust the cable. The drum is here for it. The dust water boot is there. I've just been digging out stuff, trying to find everything. My buddy Hunting 902 blew a tie rod in his machine last night, so I've been rooting to see if I can find one of those. He's also got a weak ball joint. I happen to find a couple extra front, lower, and upper ball joints that we're going to try and see if we can get in his. I have figured out what's wrong with the choke cable, why it doesn't stay into the lever. This little ball on the end is for my Suzuki, but the lever is not from a Suzuki, so the ball needs to be bigger. I am probably going to just squeeze a lead weight on there. I've done it prior to this on other machines, and it seems to work okay. Where it's just the choke, it doesn't have to be fancy, not like the throttle where you want it reliable, but for the choke, it should work. If not, maybe I'll just gear it up so I can pull it manually from just reach in and pull it out. I haven't decided yet, but I'm sure I can make something work. But this is where I'm at right now. I've just kind of got a mess around the garage. Everything's thrown everywhere. Tools are laying here. I have to break this tire down right here. It's the back one on that side. And this tire here, which is the front one on that side, on this side here, because they're both flat. I've got new tubes over there on the bench for it, so I just got to get them put in. This tire is off just because of the brakes. It's down a little, but I think it'll hold enough air. And that one back one on that side seems to hold air. Fingers crossed, I'm hoping they'll stay up, because I don't really want to buy another set of tubes right now. They're not cheap, but I will if I have to, but we'll see. But like I said, I've been just kind of rooting through the junk over here, trying to find the pieces I'm going to need right now. Extra shocks, cables, you know, there's another CV joint there or two. There's a front shaft joint in there. This is a box of nuts and bolts and stuff that I might need. There's another tote or bottle there of nuts and bolts that go to the four-wheeler that he took off, that I'm probably going to need some of that stuff. That I've gone through, and it's just extra plates and an extra gas tank and extra hubs and stuff. I've got extra rear control arms there laying for it. You know, I have a mess here, and I found most of the exhaust heat shields for it. I'm probably going to paint those black. I'm not a real fan of the red. They kind of stand out, but with the plastic on it won't really matter, I don't think. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm doing today. I'm just kind of rooting around and seeing what I'm going to need. I'll probably won't worry about the liners or the shoes for now. I just get the wheel cylinders freed up so that I can turn the wheels free. And this is the wheel bearing that needs to be replaced. As you can see, it's pretty loose. I have to get this whole spindle off and put in the new wheel bearings that I have over there on the bench. I have to take this out, press out the old ones, press in the new ones, and then put it all back on. At the same time, I can see what's wrong with this wheel cylinder, see if I can free it up and getting it working better. The other one's completely seized. I think it doesn't move at all either side, but at least this one does push out on this side. It's not this side. It may push evenly once I put the drum back on. Sometimes it actually takes pressure on this side to make that side come out. But I'll deal with that as I go. But this is where it stands right now. I'll probably put some silicone around this rubber. It doesn't look too healthy to keep that's a water and dust boot to keep the dust out of the brakes and water out when you're obviously mudding. But we'll see about that. And I still have to figure out something to replace the boot here for this air intake, because now this is bigger than the old carburetor. I had the original boot will no longer work on here, so I have to build a boot that goes from here to my intake, where my breather box would sit right here. But again, that's not drastic. That boot actually, I think, would fit right on, but then I'd have to replace that boot. So one way or the other, I'll figure out something. It's just an old machine. It doesn't have to be mint. I don't have to go to the store or the dealer and buy all new stuff exactly to fit this machine. I'm a bit of a MacGyver type thing. I'll gear something up so it works. As long as it's safe and reliable, that's all I really care about. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not it doesn't have to be a dealer, let's go get it and get it completely rebuilt, back to factory type thing. As long as it works and I feel safe on it, I'm good. So I'm going to probably have to set the camera down so I can get some work done here. I just wanted to show you where I'm at. Welcome back. Well, I've got the back brakes on, brand new. Had to do some playing, but they had adjusted the lever when they ran out of cable adjustment to make up the difference where the shoes were so bad. So I had to pull that back, lever out, and readjust it. But now I have good quality brakes. Let's see if I can get this drum back on so you can see. It's hard with one hand, but hang on a second. There. the drum's back on. Push the lever and the drum does not move. But I can spin it free once so it might need a little bit more adjustment once I get it down. But that part is done. Next step is to put this dust boot on. I'm probably gonna, like I said, clean this up and put a little silicone around it, just to where this rubber's been torn a bit and not very good. I might put some silicone around it just to help keep the water out. But yeah, so the back brakes are on. I still haven't touched anything to do with the front yet. The neighbor needed a hand looking at his four-wheeler for a minute. So this is as far as I've gotten so far, but yeah, I'll keep you posted. Guys, welcome back. Well, I got the spindle on. I kind of cheated. I rooted through the junk, and I had a front spindle that was with perfect bearings in it. Well, not perfect, but suitable. So I didn't bother putting the new bearings in. I just changed the hub out of it because it didn't have the studs in it, and freed up the wheel cylinder on that side. So come take a look. Yeah, so it's a bit of a mess, but as you can see, no wiggle anymore on that bearing. It's solid. And I freed up the wheel cylinder so that when you push the lever, they push out like they're supposed to, and push back quite free. I have to bleed this side, obviously, and I haven't put the brakes back on, but that's pretty simple. I mean, it's all down there. Just put it back the way it was. I mean, it's the same as a car, really. Same as the rear drums on a most vehicles of today's time, if that doesn't have disc, of course. Now, this wheel cylinder is still completely seized. I'm going to see if I can pop it out without taking the brakes off. Just get the wheel cylinder out, pop it apart, and free it up like I did the other one. I just took the other one apart, cleaned the rust out of it, put it back in, and it works fine. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side, hopefully without having to take the brakes off. I should be able to just loosen the bolts to the cylinder, take the line out, pull it out past the brakes, do the repair, put it back in. But obviously I'll have to bleed both sides once I'm done. But I also, the two bolts that come out of that hold the pinch bolts for the ball joints, as you can see, are not in great shape. I've decided not to reuse them. They don't tighten up well. So I'm going to just put some nuts and bolts through, bolts through with nuts on the end to pinch it tight. They're threaded, but if the bolts are that bad, I don't know what the threads will be like on the inside. So I'm not going to take the chance. I'll just put a nut or bolt through with a nut. Any 3/8 bolt should hold it tight enough. It's not like I'm going to be off-roading and jumping and stuff with it. I just want to use it to haul some firewood and around the yard, and when I get my deer, get it out of the woods. You know, maybe a little bit of tour riding, but again, not extreme. I'm too old for that. But yeah, so she's coming. I have to consult the manual soon and start figuring out how these hoses and wires for get routed and pinched or clamped up to the frames and stuff, so I can get those up and out of the way. Get that air breather back in. The foam is missing from my air breather filter, so I probably will have to buy one. I can get them cheap at my work, so that's not a problem. May have to wait a couple days for it, but I can have it pretty much overnight or the next day. So yeah, this is where it's at. The wheel cylinder is repaired. I'm going to save the bearings. I'm not going to put them in. I'm going to save my side in case I do need them. This one growls a little bit when you turn it. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it does growl a little. So at some point it will need a new set, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. The back is pretty much back together. I just need to get a cotter pin for in there. But yeah, there's where we're at. Thanks for watching.
There's a place I'll always cherish neath the blue Atlantic skies, where the shores down in Cape Breton bids the golden sun to rise, and the fragrance of the apple blossoms sprays the dew-kissed lawn, back in dear old Nova Scotia.